What's up, y'all? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time.
So what's up, everybody? We are here, One Piece, 1095. Live. So, before we get into things, I've been moderately spoiled. So, my TV is connected to my YouTube, and I saw a thumbnail. I think it was teching. Alright. So, the thumbnail had young Kuma, and then in the background, God Valley. Now, the young Kuma part of it, I'm like, okay, that makes sense, right? Because the end of the chapter showed us, like, Bonnie going through Kuma's memories, so it's a nice transition into a flashback, if that's the way that it starts, like, if the chapter starts that way. The God Valley part of it is, like, the crazy part. Because that wasn't something that I think ever came up. Like, oh, you know, like, we talked about Kuma being a slave and all of that, but I don't know if it ever came up, like, what if Kuma was a slave at God Valley? I mean, maybe somebody out there had said it, but, so, with that, I don't know anything else, but I feel like that's, like, two of the big things about the chapter. So, with this, I don't know if it's a whole chapter of Kuma's flashback. I don't know if we get, like, a little bit of the fight with Saturn, and then, like, we transition into it towards the end. But either way, it's very exciting. It seems like everybody is hyping the chapter up. I have been waiting for the Kuma flashback, so I'm pumped to get into it. I don't know if we're going to see rocks or anything like that. I doubt that this will get into it. It'll probably just focus, like, before the God Valley incident. If I had to guess. It'll be cool if we lead into it, but it's also, like, whose perspective is it really from that we should be learning about this information right now? I'm thinking maybe this is, you know, I figured I might as well start, like, if I know two things from the chapter, let me, like, spitball and try and predict where I think things could go. I fully expect to see Garland, because we were told that, you know, he was, like, one of the heads at God Valley. So maybe we'll get some information on him. Maybe we'll get some information on Shanks. I doubt we'll get into rocks, but if we do, cool. You know, remember, I am Team Rocks was a good guy. Okay, I've been saying that for years. See if we get some evidence towards that. I wonder what other figures from the past we could see during this, though. That's the thing. Smart TV, yeah. So my TV knows that I like One Piece. It's not the first time that that's happened to me with my TV. Also, my TV, like, spoiled me that Buggy was in a chapter once. And I was like, oh man, would have been great if I just found out organically that Cross Guild was in the chapter. But look, I'm not too bummed about it. Like, I would have been fine. The part that bums me out is the God Valley part, because that would have been the, oh wow. The Kuma flashback is like, okay, yeah, we've been talking about this coming, like, for months. So it's just like, okay, it's finally here. All right, so I'm getting into things. We've got Buggy on the front page. Chapter 1095, Better Off Dead in This World. Buggy chasing after a squirrel monkey that stole his trademark nose. But it's actually his nose. Oh, well, he can split apart. Yeah. Duh. Okay. Let's get into this. Okay, we're not going right into it. So this is cool. So maybe we'll get Maybe we'll get some heat on feet. I don't know. Saint Saturn has disembarked. All units but Vice and Rear Admirals maintain distance from the island center. Avert your eyes from him, from his holy form. Holy form? Okay. Alright. What? When did he come ashore and how? So this is interesting. So maybe the flashback is like the last page then. Which is better for me, because it means I get to, like, see a bunch of stuff that I have no idea what's going on. Alright. I've only seen them in portraits. That's interesting. I wonder how long those portraits have been around, right? What are those flashes of lightning? The admirals themselves will act for a single celestial dragon, and these are the pinnacle of those gods. I mean, one of them came all the way here from Marijoa? Alright, so picking back up where Bonnie stabbed him. Bonnie, what have you done? Exactly what she's supposed to do. We're not... Don't admonish Bonnie for doing this. You don't take one look at this man and say, hey, let's have a conversation. No. On sight, let's go. She stabbed the elder. Okay, we've got the Vice Admirals. There's Doberman. I think this is Doberman's birthday chapter. So, Doberman appeared. Ready your weapons. Is Skunkman turning his hair into a blade? I do remember that fake name I gave. I definitely gave a name to this guy with the beard. I gave a name to all of them. I gotta go back and look at the names. Some of them are pretty good. Oh, you know what? I think his name was Gigi Nuki. Yeah. Alright. Because he looks like Baba Nuki, but, you know, it's like Baba means old bat, so I just said he's Gigi Nuki, old man. Alright, pipe down, you insects! Okay, the Spider-Man has called them insects. Barry said Bonnie and Vivi, it's on site. I mean, it really... Like, I think I mentioned it last week. It was exactly like when Vivi showed up to... And then, like, saw Crocodile for the first moment. It was on site. That's it. We're not gonna have a conversation. If I were afraid of her sword, I would have avoided it. Oh my god. Alright, so he's grabbed Bonnie.
You loyal.
Sanji is running in, and then he gets hit by an invisible something. I wonder if he's using string. Shout out to TJBJ32 for rejoining, member for 28 months. Appreciate you. Is he using string? Like he's shooting web at them? Is that maybe what it is? Did the blood vanish? Ooh, advanced healing. See, now this I like. This is danger. This is what we need. This is tension. This is good. How we gonna get ourselves out of this one? Okay. Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Seize Vegapunk's group now while we have the chance. Wait, you fools. Don't be hasty. They cannot escape. Just ready your weapons. This is rather sluggish work by your standards, Kizaru. Oh, this man's giving him the do better speech. I'm sorry I failed you, and I don't think I'll be mobile anytime soon. Oh, wow. Luffy's stocks are high. Okay. Kizaru's stocks have fallen. I think I can understand why. Alright, we got old man Luffy over there. Odie Jones Luffy. Let us see. Oh, he's going straight for Luffy. Who's gonna swoop in? Who's gonna swoop in? Is it gonna be Zoro? Is Zoro gonna take a break from Lucci? Sanji gonna get back up? Frankie gonna do something? Oh, I'm excited. Frankie! Okay, yeah, there we go. Strong right. He just knocked Luffy out of the way. Okay. Ooh, I see. A pirate crew that cooperates. So even the guys who rule the world want our captain's head, huh? Oh, man. Frankie versus Agorase. This is crazy. This is crazy. I might need to pull the OST back to the Frankie music. We need Maxo's Frankie music right now. Straw Hat Luffy, Jewelry Bonnie. We failed to anticipate your presence here. But if your fate is strong enough, why is this man talking like Blackbeard? Why is this man talking like Van Augur? Why is this man talking like Doc Q? But if your fate is strong enough to escape this desperate situation, I would very much like to see it. You, Vegapunk. Your betrayal was most disappointing. But your great service to our military is appreciated. Which of you should die first? Tell me. From least to most painful, I want you to die with nothing but regret for your rebellion against the world government. Ooh, he is spitting. Okay, okay. Why is it that human beings feel the need to do what they are explicitly forbidden from doing? Why is it that human beings little tick right there for Saturn is not a human being, but actually a devil. Alright. Can anyone else move? No, I can't. It's like I'm being held down. If this is not science, then it must be devil fruit powers. Oh no, Bonnie. You killed my father, Saturn. Prepare to die. Kuma, you mean? He was born into a slave castle, the descendant of a clan that once committed a grave crime against the world. Oh, into a slave caste. Okay. This just feels like Bane. Born in it, molded by it. The last survivor of the extinct Buccaneer people. The Buccaneers! Alright. Now we know all the races in the world. We know about it. Flashback, Bonnie. Ever since I was a boy, I wanted to be a hero who could save the imprisoned and suffering. Okay, we're getting that lore. We're getting that Kuma lore. Why he joined the Freedom Fighters, the Revolutionary Army. Just like Nika, the warrior of liberation. This man knew about Nika. Kuma's a Florida man. Aim for the head, then. Nika, that's right. He's my idol. Kuma doing the Nika pose? I'm done. And little Bonnie doing it. Oh. Oh, wow. All right.
It's about to get spicy.
He appears from the blue with laughter and this rhythm. Bonnie, leave her alone. She's still just a child. Why is Oda, don't do it. Don't do the thing where, like, she's the same age as all of these other Straw Hats here, maybe even a little bit older. Don't do this. Don't do that. All right. Anyway, will he come and free me too? Of course. Well, he might. Ooh, 47 years ago, South Blue, Sorbet Kingdom. Our first look at Sorbet. Getting Alabasta vibes. The architecture is kind of like Alabasta a little bit. It's unique, but it just gives me those vibes. It's a big, healthy boy. Congratulations. I'm so glad you've come out to see us. Oh, by the way, guys, it's flashback time. It's flashback time. What a thing to say as a child, say to a child as it's born. I'm so glad you've come out to see us. Doctor, his blood? Don't worry, I won't speak a word of it. It's a healthy boy. I'm sorry, Clap. Run for your life. Government agents showed up at the hospital. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. It's me, I'm the one who has Buccaneer blood. So is Clap the doctor, or is Clap Kuma's dad? But my wife doesn't... Okay, so that's... It's me, I'm the one who has the Buccaneer. So the dad is offering himself up here. That'll be alright, dear. So then they were sent into slavery. Oh my god. I've got a Buccaneer slave. See his strength for being so young? Why don't you move faster? That hurts, I'm sorry. Stop bawling or I'll kill you. Man, this is... Kuma's like a top 10 character for me. He always has been. My second favorite warlord. This is rough. This is rough. But I love it. Let's get those likes up, people. Hi there, Kuma. How are you doing? Hi, Dad. My master is so kind and gentle. I'm very lucky. My master is so kind and gentle. I'm very lucky. And then just look at him in tatters. Oh my god. What a transition. Mother's dead, son. She's in heaven now. But I think she's better off that way. It was only a matter of time. Oda doesn't keep mothers around. Man. Listen, Kuma. You are strong. You can survive this. Why, I'd rather be dead too. The warrior of liberation will come. He'll show up and save you. Who? The sun god Nika. The legendary warrior whose story is told throughout our buccaneer heritage. So is this how Who's Who eventually learned of the story? Clap was talking about it so much that it just got around. I can't imagine Clap's alive. One day he'll show up and take you out under the sun to the freedom of the sea. Meek is always smiling and laughing. And his rhythm brings laughter to the people. Starts doing the drums of liberation. Ha ha ha. Oh my god. Woo! Oda! I can't do the music during this. Oh my god. Do we need to do it twice, Oda? Like, happy transition into, like, this is... This man's just like... Oh, my... You didn't have to clap like that, Oda. And I'm mad you named him Clap and then clapped him. Oda's face. Sorry. Kuma's face. Kuma's face. In that panel with the splat. Is horrifying. This is horrifying. Maxo said W for Oda talking about slavery with the intensity it warrants. Yes. Yes. I mean, look. I clap. I clap for this, but... Hey. This is what I asked for, right? I asked for this. I asked for this every week. Sitting here surprised that I actually got it, though. Oh, my God. All right. Let's see what's on this next page. "38 years ago, West Blue. He waited 3 long years. So now it is time again for our great sport, the native hunting competition. Our arena this time shall be the unaffiliated land of God Valley." This place, which has the audacity to name itself the Valley of God, possesses ample natural resources. We will hold our customary manhunt here and claim this island for the world government. Oh, this is going to be the God Valley incident. Next week, going to go crazy. Until I see Break next week. How dare you? You intend to kill my people for a game? It's insanity. This is our land, Your Majesty. Oh, we do have Garland. And just took down the king here. Okay, we got a young Garland. Garling. It's so hard to... I always want to say Garland. I don't know. Garling. Garling, that's his name. Alright, anyway. Oh, not so fast. No head starts. Gotta leave some for the rest of us. Come on. He's already struck down the king of the natives. Heavy favorite, St. Garling, will start with negative 10,000 points. Yo, they really make a game out of this. The handicap will make for better competition. Holy Knight, St. Figurland, Garling. In addition to the rabbit natives, we have a selection of problem slaves and criminals to hunt. They've caught the escaped child, sir. The Buccaneer boy. Okay, Oda finally showing us that they don't age. He's always kept them like shrouded in mystery a little bit here. Going this far back, but we can see that Saturn looks just as old as he's ever looked. Damn you for running away. They're going to hold all 10 of us responsible for you. If you escape, they'll kill every last one of us. Is that Ivankov? Oh, shit. Yeehaw! Hey, hold it right there. You must be the grand prize, the Buccaneer. Ah, no wonder you're so big. You've got giant's blood, I hear. My bro's pretty big too, huh? Only my face. Hey, shut up. Look at all those gloomy, miserable faces. Slave, Ginny. No, Ginny's not making it out. Oreo and Ivankov. Well, I choose life. What about you? To be continued. Break next week? God damn it. We're really getting it, guys. We're getting the God Valley flashback. Now all of those panels of Ivankov at Marineford, after this flashback, they're going to hit different. I mean, they already hit different knowing that Ivankov was part of the God Valley incident. That is so insane. Who else can show up? Like, there's so many characters that could play a role in this. All of these big figures in the world. We could find out the truth about Shanks, Blackbeard. Crocodile was 8 years old during this time. Will he be there? Oh, Crocodile's gotta be there. Ivankov knows Crocodile's secret. What if it goes back to the God Valley incident? What if we find out what that secret actually is? Whether it said he was a woman or not, it doesn't matter. But I mean, it could be anything.
You loyal. You loyal.
Next week is going to go so crazy. Well, not next week, but 2 weeks from now.
Loyal.
Yeah. Man. He really looks like Shanks, too. We're going to see young Garp. We're going to see the Rocks Pirates. We're going to get confirmation on that. Like, let's see some of these, like, big names on there, too. Like, watch Zeph is there. Koreha is there. Hiraluk has something to do with this. Like, I don't know. Like, let me see everybody. Let's connect it all. Let's connect these dots, Oda. God Valley incident, that's my Roman Empire.
Savage.
So crazy. Shout out to the 500 people in here. Like we got some things to discuss. We just got a lot. Let's get those likes up, guys. Let's put W's in the chat for Baby Pluto N. Appreciate you. Said, what up, Savage Crew? Don't get to join the streams much with my work schedule on Sundays, but really glad to be able to join this momentous occasion. Also, the live action is in the most reliable hands, like Progressive.
Savage.
Appreciate you, Baby Pluto. Look at those W's. Shout out to my boy Mark Creasy, member for 24 months, who said, being back for this sad-ass chapter is just my luck. Pure setup perfection, 10 out of 10. I'm just, like... Look, I had the flashback, and that God Valley would show up spoiled for me, but really, the highlight of the chapter for me is seeing Ivankov at the end, and that was not spoiled, so, like, that's great. This is gonna go so crazy, guys. We've been waiting for this. Shout out to Young Yeet, who said, what do you think about Dragon being with Garp when he shows up to God Valley? He would be 17. I mean, that's interesting. Look, there's been a lot of theories that Garp, that Dragon would have been a Marine at one point. Like, it checks out and it makes for good story if he was and then he defected. But, I mean, it's possible, right? I mean, Kobe joined the Marines and he wasn't 17. Isn't Kobe a little younger? Wasn't he like 16 when he joined as a chore boy or something? I can't remember what his exact age was, but
Savage.
It makes things interesting. Like, if this was a catalyst for Dragon's views on the world, like seeing this warped everything. I mean, it definitely is going to change Garp. I expect to see, like, the best thing that this flashback can do is if it shows us, like, a Garp at the beginning that is all gung-ho about everything that the Marines and the world government stands for, and then by the end of the flashback, he's not about it at all. and neither is Dragon. Then Dragon and Garb can have an argument because Dragon wants to defect, but Garb knows things, and he's just like, no, I gotta, if I'm gonna take this organization down, I gotta stay on the inside. Shout out to Mateo KB, who said, with the amount of people that might be involved in this flashback, this feels like a teaser for what the final saga might look like. Yeah. It's like getting a Marineford in a prequel or something, you know? When we still have a Marineford 2.0 to come up anyway. Sco Tree said, if Bonnie is Kuma's daughter and he was the king of Sorbet, what would she have needed to be set free from? Was she a slave? Did Kuma adopt? There are some key pieces missing here. Yeah, and look, even though this chapter gave us like another clue that Bonnie's age might not be true, I'm still team Bonnie is, 20, 21, 22, whatever Reaver card said. She doesn't have the characteristics of a Buccaneer, obviously. I don't know what a female Buccaneer would look like. Could it be that that's not... I mean, look, there's a lot of instances in the story where people's parents are not really who they say they are. So, could have been a thing where she was a slave that he freed, and then he raised her. Something like that. It could be that simple. I mean, we've talked about the whole, clone thing as well, which, is another way for Oda to mess with time. And technically speaking, if she has the memories of the old Bonnie, but she is a clone that's only been around for a couple of years, then yeah, she's just a little girl is right, because realistically, the clone's only been alive for, a couple of years, but would have the memories of Bonnie and remember the other 20 years or whatever it is. David Cott said, how could Garp and Roger protect these genocidal maniacs? By the way, the timing of this chapter, given current world events, is crazy. Yeah. Well, Oda's always been timely for things like that. This is an opportunity to kind of speak to the complications of war in the first place. So, like I've always said, I feel like Rox comes to God Valley with the sole intention of freeing everybody and stopping the world government and ending this game. Roger and Garp are on the wrong side of things, but will have a turn midway or at the end where they realize that they're on the wrong side. Or Rox is bad and he just wants to kill everybody, and it's, Garp and Roger reluctantly save the Celestial Dragons and the slaves because they're trying to save all lives. It depends on what message Oda wants to go about. There's a lot of different ways that he can tackle this. Greasy D Skillet said Crocodile is Ginny, Bonnie's mom. Stop. Conrad, member for 28 months, said Oda incapable of missing 1 year straight of fire. Yes. Okage Ezio, member for 13 months, said Google Bartholomew Sharp and his book of maps. Book of maps. Uh, oh, here's a Reddit post on Bartholomew Sharp. Let me see this.
Savage.
Taking a while to load. Let's see.
Savage.
Alright. Bartholomew Sharp was an English buccaneer and privateer. His career of piracy lasted 7 years. In the Caribbean, he took several ships.
Savage.
Sharp started out as a privateer for England while they were at war. When this war was over and his commission ran out, he formed a fleet and turned to piracy. One of their famous raids came in 1679 when they kidnapped a Spanish merchant. The document of what they managed to take was stated as the following. There has been lately taken from the Spanish by Coxswain, Bartholomew Sharp,
Savage.
Bothing, and Hawkins. Their crew, 500 chests of indigo, a great quantity of cacao, blah, 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 blah. Much is brought into the country. Okay, so they're making a reference to how the world government wants the natural resources of God Valley, which ties into this guy's story. Fast forward a bit, we begin to see the terrible luck that Sharp actually has. Sharp's ship, the Trinity, captured another Spanish ship, but they didn't find gold or jewels. They found 700 gray slabs. Okay, so steelies, poneglyphs, maybe, of metal. The crew became frustrated with the terrible haul and decided to throw all but one of the slabs overboard, believing that it was tin. It was actually silver. They threw a bunch of silver overboard, the equivalent of tens of millions of dollars, because they thought it was worthless. I don't know. That's stupid. Where's the part of this that really ties in though?
You loyal.
Where's the book of maps that you're talking about? Skipping forward. Yeah, I need the TLDR here. Okay, so this is interesting. So this person on Reddit is saying that Sharp's book of maps may suggest that an old fan theory is actually true, that Kuma's Bible is actually either maps or Viver cards of some kind, something that can help him determine exactly where he is sending people with such precision. This is why he uses his Bible when he asks where people may want to go. If they are sea charts of some kind, would that not be a great help to Nami's dream? Yeah, but see, I don't like that. I want Nami to be able to draw the map herself. I don't want... you know what I'm saying? I don't want Nami to cheat. What happened to Kuma's Bible after he became a slave during the time skip? Could he have left it with Vegapunk? I'll read more into that later. But I see the vision to a certain extent. I see the vision. Shout out to... Hold on. Shout out to DK, member for 9 months, said, I would not be surprised if this flashback dragged all the way to 1100 and culminated there. Here for it. Hey, as long as in 1100 we get Dragon, I'm okay with it. Video for the stream is lagging. Viewers are dropping. Sorry. It's because I put the computer in quiet mode. I'll put it back into performance. The fan will be a little loud, but the stream will kick back up. Barry said, my mom walked by and asked, is that our friend Randy? I said yes, and she said to tell you hi from Mama Berry. Hi, Mama Berry. Love that. Steven super chatted and said, interesting, the buildings in God Valley, page 13 left panel, give a Wild West vibe. Makes sense how Ivankov says, yeehaw. Oda doing a Wild West slave flashback? That's kind of interesting. Let me see. Yeah, those do give some, like, saloon vibes. Oh yeah, definitely, like, in the smaller panel where Garling is. Very Whiskey Peak. Grizzly Adams said, Bonnie for Straw Hat stocks way up. The inherited will is strong with this one. Also, late congrats for getting to work on your favorite arc for the live action. Yes, thank you. Alejandro Salas said, sorry I can't stay today, but since Dragon is doing something in chapter 1100, then it's going to be on God Valley and not Egghead like we thought. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It would be great if this flashback is multiple chapters. Which sucks for the 1097 smoker of it all. But we'll be back in time for 1100 to realize that Dragon and the Revolutionary Army are going to play a role in Egghead, because the tension is too high right now. Saturn seems completely unstoppable, so we're going to come out of this flashback, and Kuma's going to have arrived on Egghead. He will be the big sacrifice of the arc, and the Revolutionary Army will be there to see his sacrifice and help the Straw Hats escape. That's kind of the way you tie it all together. So Ivankov will be there, Saba will be there, Dragon will be there. What about Sumo said, as you said, Ginny ain't getting through this. What if Bonnie is a Ginny clone? Ooh. Kuma could have agreed to be a cyborg in return for getting a clone Ginny.
Savage.
Well, I mean, let's talk about Ginny, right? Ginny does kind of look like Bonnie. She's eating. Oda would have drawn Bonnie as a kid, right? I need to go and look that up, because I don't specifically remember that. Okay, so I'm looking at the SBS Young Bonnie image, going back to the Ginny. They're different enough. It's not Bonnie. I mean, I do like the line of thinking, though. I think that's possible, but what I think here is that this is how Ivankov and Ginny become friends with Kuma, and Ginny will be like the big death of this flashback as they're all becoming friends, and she will she'll be the catalyst for like the freedom fighters. It'd be kind of crazy if Dragon was the one who killed her, and then like he's got to kind of like everything he's doing is to rectify that. Somebody we know has to kill Ginny. If it's Garling, we just met him. If it's Garp, that's crazy. I mean, I guess it makes sense if it's Garling, but who else could it be? It's just gotta hit crazy, and I know it will. I mean, there were already 2 gigantic hits in this chapter. My guy Dizza, he said, what if we saw a God Valley incident from different perspectives going forward? Example, Roxas, Dragons, Garp, maybe Roger, Rayleigh's words echo crazy if so. Yeah, come to your own conclusion, right? I'm okay with that. That's why I wasn't sure we were going to go all the way to the God Valley incident in this flashback. Because we don't really have the context to dive into who is or isn't Rox, or who is or isn't Roger or Garp. Because the perspective is from Kuma's memories. Or at least that's what normal storytelling would be. It's like you always want to have a clear POV when you're doing a flashback. So if you're jumping around to different POVs, but then they don't actually culminate in the story that you're like the real-time story, then it gets a little wild. Because you have to think of it this way. If we start following Dragon's point of view, then Dragon definitely needs to show up. Because we need someone to cut back to when we come back. It's okay showing the POV of someone who dies. You know, like, having privileged scenes with Hero Look and Chopper's flashback is fine because it doesn't relate to the current timeline. But going in and, like, having a whole chapter where it's, like, you know, it's Rocks and he's talking to the Rocks pirates and everything, like, it's an omniscient point of view and, you know, a narrator point of view. Bonnie wouldn't necessarily know that, and then it's just for the sake of, like, telling us. Like, that, you know, Oda wants us to know this information. Shout out to Music F3B, who said, any theories on how and why God Valley goes missing? Maybe absorbed by the Darkness Fruit or sent away by the Pawpaw Fruit. Why, though? Who has the motivation to hide or destroy an island? The easiest answer is Shiki's fruit. But Shiki isn't a big enough character for that to even matter. If Shiki amounted to something in the post-time skip, then it would be interesting, but it depends on what power Rocks has. You know what's actually really interesting now that I'm thinking about this is if Dragon is there, and we know that the world government is coming here because they want the natural resources that are on the island. If Rocks comes into this and, like, has a hatred for the world government, and whatever power he has is able to destroy the island, but the motivation is, you guys want everything that's on this island? Well, I'm going to destroy it so you have nothing, right? Then think about exactly what Dragon and the Revolutionary Army did when they went to Marijoa. They attacked all of their natural resources and their food, right? That's learned behavior. So if you have Ivankov here, and you have Dragon, and they're seeing this, and then they're actually being galvanized by Zebek as well,
You loyal.
or somebody, whoever destroyed the island, like, it doesn't matter, but either way, I think we may be setting up a parallel here where whoever it is, whatever the situation is, the goal of getting rid of God Valley is to make sure nobody won. Yeah. I like that. Emil Diaz, member for 29 months, said, will a beardless Blackbeard be there? Well, isn't Blackbeard, like, I don't know, 2 or 4 years old or something at this time? Because he's pretty close in age to Shanks, who would have been like a baby at this time, right? Maxo said, I missed his super chat before. I'm sorry, buddy. I'll go back for sure. I know I read one from you. What do you think about the idea that those prize chests all contain plot-relevant devil fruits, specifically Kaido's, maybe Kuma's? I mean, I think they have to, right? I mean, that's like part of the game for these guys, is that they like feeding devil fruits to them. Could you imagine we learn more about Hancock and what happened with Fisher Tiger, and that the breakout actually happened during one of these manhunts as well. Yeah, look at those boxes. Yeah, that's definitely that's some devil fruit energy right there. Ivankov's fruit could be in there. Kuma's fruit, Kaido's fruit. Wow. Yeah, that's a good call. That's a good call for sure, Maxo. Shout out to Moon Gem VA for fun. Said a child crocodile being a slave on God Valley would greatly explain how he knew about the poneglyphs and ancient weapons. Also, changing genders would be a great way to hide your identity. So, I agree. And I immediately, and I've been talking about this for a while now, about Crocodile having something to do with God Valley because he was 8 years old during the time. So, him being here is, like, it's necessary, right? Tying into, Ivankov and him having some history. And could you imagine, like, just the tragedy? Like, let's play ball, right? Crocodile was a woman. And to escape everything, Ivankov ends up eating this fruit and understands what power they have, and then Crocodile is just like, just change me. Like, I don't want anybody to know who I am. I don't want to be tied to this ever again. Raging Filthy Casual, member for 27 months. You changed your name, man. Said, hi, RNC. What are the natural resources from God Valley? Maybe drunken iron ore.
You loyal.
I mean, I think it could be, like food and minerals and, stuff that just... Yeah. I don't know. It's tough, Steve. Because we don't know about, out of, the minerals that we know of this world, we've only really been told about drunken iron ore, right? So, it's a little tough. So earlier, Maxo said, I can't hang today, but you think they got some particular devil fruits in those chests, especially Kaido's? Also, thanks for the Frankie theme drop at the best moment. You got it, dude. Sorry I missed that one earlier. Young Yeet said, do you think Garling may have had a child with a slave who winds up being Shanks, and she and Shanks are in this hunt? I mean, if Oda wants to go that deep into slavery lore, and, like turn, Figureland into, like, Thomas Jefferson, then, like, I mean, I'm cool with it. Like, it's a good subject to, like, check in on. Like, here's this person who's half slave and half celestial, because I don't think we have a character that like that in the story. But you would kind of need a time jump for that, and I don't think that there's actually time for that. Because it seems like this incident is about to ramp up within the next couple of hours. So Roger, Garp, and the Rocks pirates and everything, like, they should pull up. I think the best thing for us is that 1096 is literally just like a lot of like just bonding between Ivankov, Kuma, and Ginny, like set up Ginny. And then at the end, like they're getting ready for the manhunt, and that's when like all of like Rocks starts to show up. Roger reveals that he's on the island or something. As I said, this is from Morge's stream, but what if we go back to Egghead and Kuma shows up and the last thing he does is push the fatigue out of Luffy? Please do that. Please, Kuma, do that. Why set that up back then if you're never going to do it? That's great. That's great. And then you push the fatigue and all of that into Saturn or something? Ooh. 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 But the thing with that is then Luffy's able to fight, and I need Kuma to like sacrifice himself, and then it's like kind of like a thing where everybody's just got to go. Top Goon said, "Yo, Randy, you noticed the 6 chests, 6 mythical zones stolen? Azure Dragon." Big Mom takes it and gives it to Kaido. But she can't eat it, so Phoenix goes to Whitebeard, Orochi to Higurashi, Buddha to Garp, Ninetales, Dragon's Devil Fruit. You think? Oh, Ninetales to blank. Yeah, okay, I gotcha. I don't think they need to be mythical zones. I mean, it really could be like Kuma's fruit, Ivankov's fruit. Maybe it's Marco's fruit, but I mean, one thing that I still would like, but is a reach, is that Marco's been alive for a long time, and he just keeps regenerating, and like, so like we'll see like a grown-up Marco here, even though like theoretically he should have been like, you know, a kid. Damn. Tyreek Smith said Kuma ate a devil fruit that kept him from being struck. Yo, that's true. This man who was beaten his whole life is able to reflect everything. Like, you can't touch me now. Wow. Oda. Bro. Emil Diaz said, could see them restarting the manhunt again. Wano? Because they need the natural resources on Wano. They're not getting it from Kaido anymore. I mean, that's a good way to bring Wano back into the story. It's not necessarily the way that I would want the plot to go, but it's an interesting thought. Barry said, getting the God Valley incident in the middle of the Egghead incident makes me feel like they will either be narrative mirrors or foils to each other. Yeah. Well, that's also why I was trying to have it be a narrative mirror to what happened at Marijoa with the Revolutionary Army. So, like, I think whatever happens in the God Valley incident is going to mirror what the revolutionaries were doing on Marijoa in the first place. They were, like, freeing slaves, destroying resources. Whereas here, you know, they were, in the God Valley incident, they were trying to kill slaves and capture resources. So you have to do the opposite. It's good if Saturn dies, you know, because then we could have these characters play a role in this incident and kind of get, like, their first win, even though, you know, we'll have some losses. Like, Kuma's totally dying, but, Um, yeah. This is tough. Tyreek said Bonnie's distorted future looked like a Buccaneer. Absolutely. We talked about that when it happened. That she ended up looking like Bonnie when she ended up looking like Kuma when she did it. So there's, which led to one thought where it was like, does her fruit allow her to manipulate her body and all of that so she can look the way she does, but her real true form is something more like Kuma? But then we see a child Bonnie in this doing the Nika dance. Did she have her fruit by that time? Probably not. So it's interesting. Burns in the chat. What's up, man? Dragon's fruit reveal. I don't necessarily know if we need to have Dragon have his fruit right now. I don't know. Catching up on the chat here. Mark Creasy said Ginny is Luffy's mom. That's funny. Is she chomping down on some meat? She sure is. Damn, that would be crazy. Shout out to Mark. That would be wild. Then you'd have Luffy, the warrior of liberation, but he's actually half slave. Damn, if we found that out and then come back to this and it's like, this girl was introduced eating meat. It's just like, it's so Luffy coded. I don't know. I think Ginny's gotta die.
Loyal.
Let's pump these likes up, guys. Shout out to Vernon Co, member for 12 months, said, how do you feel about God Valley as the birth of the revolutionaries? Well, technically it would be the birth of the freedom fighters, right? Because O'Hara is the birth of the revolutionaries. But I do like this, and the more and more that we talk about this, like, I feel like Dragon does have to play a role in this, because especially with Ivankov and Kuma being here, this is right. We're here. Finally made it to God Valley.
They ain't believe in us. God did.
Baby Pluto Ann said next Manhunt is going to be set for Alabasta. That's fun. Hey, I'm okay with that. Let's go back there. Terrible TJ said Distorted Future reminds me of Nami's Mirage Tempo. Yes. Yeah, she definitely did make herself look like that too. Croc's fruit got to be in one of them. That would be really cool if Croc had his fruit going all the way back like that too. Like, if we get some serious crocodile lore here, like that's the one thing I really want from this, and it's the one thing that I've always wanted from this. You know, once I did the math and saw that Crocodile was 8 years old during God Valley, I was like, come on, we gotta. Like, if he's involved in this and he just overhears some stuff from either Roger, Rock, something like that about poneglyphs, if Alabasta's name gets dropped or something, and then it's like his whole life he's just been working towards finding what's in Alabasta because he overheard something that Rock said, whew, it's gonna be heat. And then technically we'd be getting Crocodile's flashback as well. Oh my god. Ah. And then it's like, why did we never get a Crocodile flashback? Because it's too tied to the end game of the story. Yup. Woo. Don't let me down, Oda. Don't let me down. Then we can cut back to the Cross Guild and we've got an even stronger, like, reasoning for this. And technically Mihawk could play a role too, because he's young enough, right? How close in age are Mihawk and Crocodile? Let's see, Mihawk age. Mihawk is 44. Mihawk would be 6. Mark said that's the only reason I said it, because of the meat. Chrissy said, also, I want to say this is one of the best chapters of Egghead so far, in my opinion. Not lying. Not lying. Not lying. I love OP. I love OP. There's a reason Garp hid Luffy. Hey, look, I've been saying that, but I also... But the thing about Garp hiding Luffy in the first place is he really doesn't do it until Luffy eats his fruit. So Garp needs to know about Nika, and he needs to know, like, more about that fruit. So he was protecting Luffy because he ate the fruit, not because of, you know, any sort of lineage or anything like that. Mark Creasy quoted me. I don't know. I think Ginny's got to die. Captain Randy Troy, 2023. We need something to pull on the heartstrings. Like, so it's just like, I mean, not only the, yes, they're gonna clap Ginny like they clapped Clap. Okay. There needs to be a catalyst. Like, it's not enough to just have this like massive genocide. Like, yeah, that's great and all of that, but. Sorry, it's not great. It's terrible. For the story, like it's good propulsion is what I'm saying. But the thing is you need a singular character to kind of like look to as well. So, but there are so many figures in the world that we need to see. And could Nico Olvia be involved in this? Because she too would be 17 years old, right? Because she's the same age as Dragon. Sakazuki could be here. Sakazuki. we could see Sakazuki and Dragon, like, what if they're friends, right? But then everything that happens here sends them on two different paths. Oh my god, there's so many cool things. There's so many crazy like relationships and like different things that can like bloom from this kind of stuff. I love this. We could see Saul, because Saul is super old, right? But then Saul, no. I don't want to see Saul. I don't want to see Saul. Because Saul would... If he defects because of what he knows of O'Hara, then he would have defected sooner here. So no Saul, I take that back. That's going to create like a logic issue if Saul's here. Burns said, I saw a tweet talking about what rare fruits could be in those chests, and someone was saying Marco and Sengoku's fruits could be there. Maybe, but I mean, why Sengoku's? Like, why do we need Sengoku's fruit to be in there? Is Sengoku even going to be involved in this flashback? Because, like, he spoke about God Valley from the perspective of he wasn't there. And he was spitting a lot of propaganda about rocks that I still to this day don't believe. Chrissy said also, is that Shanks' daddy? Definitely. It's gotta be. Or, oh, Barry said Grandpappy. That's possible too. Maxo said, I can't believe Oda named this man Clap. I know. Kuma wanted to be Nika, so he ate the Niku thinking it was Nika. If that's the reasoning, that's going to be really hard for every other language to translate. Clover being there, that's crazy, yeah. Salience also saying, could Nico Olvia show up? Yeah, I was just talking about that. And about how her Dragon and Akainu would all be 17. Oh, we're getting into Math Piece also. So, one of the things that I did talk about with Math Piece is that, like, a lot of the next couple of chapters are going to run in line with the time that we got Robin's flashback. So, if we, you know, if Oda wants to start really doing some Math Piece and stuff, yeah, so we would have Dragon, you know, or not Dragon, but Sakazuki here, maybe Olvia, maybe Clover, like, that would be cool. Oh, and God Valley is in the West Blue, like O'Hara, right? Olvia's name drop was in 393, which was issue 3 of 2006, which would be in December. Yeah, we could easily build to all of that. Marco would be 7 at God Valley. Could we be seeing Marco as well? This is every major pirate in the world. Like, this is
Savage.
This is the start of everything. Seeing Fujitora in the chat. I don't know about that. Could Doflamingo be there? Nah, I don't need Doflamingo there. I don't need Dofi there. He's got nothing to contribute. Almace? Is that it? I'm just gonna assume the X in the name should be pronounced as like an A. Almace. Super chatted. Appreciate you. Said, is it possible Rox was an incarnation version of Joy Boy? Might make some sense with his arrival on God Valley, Kuma's dad speaking on Nika. People have suggested, in the past that he could have had Luffy's fruit. His Jolly Roger is a flaming skull, so there's a bunch of different instances, like did he have the Maramara no Mi, Ace and Sabo's fruit? Did he have the Darkness fruit, and that the flame is actually like darkness? Or is it a reference to, being Sun God Nika? There's a lot of different things. I've also said that Rox being a Lunarian tracks, because then the flaming skull would be indicative of, just Lunarians and their flame. And I like that a lot more. And I mean, there's a world where we get all of it, like he's a Lunarian, but he also has this fruit and this, like, whatever. So I'm cool with that. So we've learned that Bonnie knows the legend of Nika. Do you think she will realize Luffy's connection in some way? More so than anything, I'm kind of concerned that she hasn't said anything prior to this already. Just didn't she see him like flying around fighting Kizaru? Josh said, Randy, do you think Dragon hype is justified? Not yet, but it should be. It needs to be. Let's see. A little bit of chair piece. I'll be right back. There's so much stuff we gotta talk about. Oh my god. Oh god. All right.
Hi, I'm Captain America. Here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have. Patience. Sometimes patience is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
So more on the idea of, is dragon hype justified? Oda's gotta he's gotta expand on the monkey family at some point. Like it's just, but the things I don't necessarily want the expansion on the monkey family to be like, oh wow, they're strong and powerful. Like, we already saw that with Garp. Like, that's fine. Like, I need to get into who these characters are headspace wise. So that's why it's really great if Dragon does show up here, because he can see all of this. He can form the freedom fighters. We can see different interactions with characters like Sakazuki, with potentially Olvia. Similar opinions, difference of opinions. Dragon having it out with Garp, but also at the same time, like, that's stuff that is so privileged that it almost feels out of place to get in a flashback that is coming from Kuma's POV. But I want it. I would rather... It's tough, because I would rather get the whole package, but I feel like we were talking about other, earlier, seeing, I think, was it Dizza or Maxo that said, getting different perspectives on all of this? I think it was Dizza. And I feel like I would get the most well-rounded POV if it was Garp or Dragon. Setting it from the position of Kuma, is the more emotional way to do it, though. So, or we just get multiple God Valley flashbacks, but at the same time, I want to get it over with and done, and move on and keep building. Emil said, "I'm calling it next chapter will be a touching love story of Shaki and Silver's Rayleigh meeting and falling in love." I don't think it'll be the next chapter, but it's interesting. I really love the idea of Shaki being on, like, the Rocks Pirates, and then they meet because Rayleigh is with Roger,
Savage.
See ya, Maxa. Terrence Matthews said, "I think that Dragon will show up and hold off Saturn. Luffy and Kizaru will get up and finish their fight. And the other Straw Hats versus the Vice Admirals." So what I would prefer is Kuma shows up, holds off Saturn. I like the idea that was brought up earlier, that apparently was in a Morge stream, where Kuma would remove the pain and fatigue from Luffy. Then Luffy would try to stop Saturn, but then that's when Dragon shows up and, like, tells Luffy that he should go and get out of here. I don't know, but that's a little convoluted, because I want Kuma to do this big sacrifice. You know what's actually the best thing? This is interesting. Okay, so Kuma shows up. He removes the fatigue from Luffy. Luffy wants to fight Saturn, and he wants to keep going. And Kuma is trying to do this sacrifice play, but Luffy won't stand down. So he paws Luffy to Elbaf or something, and he's like, "Your captain's at Elbaf, go get him." And then everybody else leaves because they have to go get Luffy. That's a way to force us off the island that I kind of like. Because it's like you need a reason for... Luffy's too headstrong. Like, he would... If the fatigue gets pulled away from him, he's going to want to keep fighting. And I don't want him to fight Kizaru. Like, that's already over and done with. I'd rather have Zoro fight Kizaru. So, Luffy would try to go after Saturn, but maybe he's not ready for Saturn. Maybe there are things that he needs to learn or things that he needs to know. And before he can get involved in that. Or maybe he takes a big hit from Saturn, and then but he still thinks that he can keep going. It's one of those tough things. It's one of those tough things. Straw Hats versus the Vice Admirals is kind of fun, and I do want more of that, and I'd like to see some of the other Straw Hats get their due. But I also really want more from Frankie and Sanji, and I'm really glad that Frankie got a moment to like kind of just do something and say, hey, I'm a Straw Hat and I exist. Because when Oda's juggling so many characters, plenty of these guys get lost in the, just the thick of it all. I would rather Dragon maybe never even make it onto the island, but him and Sabo and Ivankov deal with like a lot of the Marine ships outside. Luke, is that you? Luke said, would be cool to see Dragon at God Valley. It'd only be 20ish at the time it occurred. Maybe he was a Marine at the time, or after seeing the slaves treatment broke away. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about. So Dragon would be 17, so he'd be like a rookie. A rookie Marine. Hey, Luke. Oh, man. Would definitely show Garv's disappointment. Yeah, I'm into it. I'm into it. Can Kuma send Saturn flying? Maybe, but maybe like he's so powerful or whatever. It's kind of like when Law tried to use his moves on Kaido. It's like, oh, his hockey's too strong. Goofy sounds as he blasts off. We would most likely see a one Miss Buckingham Stussy. Mona Villa said, if Shaki is with Rox, Rox was definitely the Luffy of his generation, and Roger and Garp have a lot of explaining. This is what I've been saying, though. Rox makes more sense to me if he wasn't a bad guy. Like, if he was the Luffy of his generation. Everybody's like, oh, he got his crew from, a Davy backfight. No. Look at all of these, like, high-profile people on his team. What if he was like Luffy and he was just able to draw people to him with his charisma and his energy? And it's like, and you see him, like, he's not a giant. He's like a small dude like Luffy that just, like, knew what was going on and was able to get people like Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido, like, what if Zeph was there? What if Kureha was the doctor? What if, Shaki is there, and he's just assembled the greatest pirate crew in the world, and this is them going up against the world government and failing. But what ends up happening here twists a lot of people. Like, what if Big Mom threw rocks was actually, like, kind of good, but then everything that happened at God Valley, like, twists her? Eating her mother and friends aside, right? You know, she's never gonna be like fully good. But like when you think about Big Mom in the first place, like she wanted to create a utopia where all races of the world could live in harmony, right? It's on paper a great idea until you realize like she's doing it with an iron fist and, you know, stealing people's souls and basically doing a heavenly tribute of her own, you know, but with people's lives. And so it's just it's weird. It's a weird thing, but you know, you also have to look at somebody like Whitebeard, who never really did turn bad. Like, this dude was good. Like, did he do bad things? Yeah, but he was also like, we don't know what those things are. And he went and made sure that his hometown was fed. Like, him and his crew lived in poverty because he wanted to make sure that like the people on Sphinx could eat. So Whitebeard is not a bad guy. And with that being said, like, Rox has to be a good dude as well. Like, maybe he's going about it in the wrong way a little bit also, but his intentions have to be right. He has to be coming in there with the perspective of, we've got to stop, you know, this manhunt. They want these resources. I'm going to make sure that they don't get any resources. And whatever he's doing has to like galvanize a lot of people. So then you have someone like Blackbeard, right, who hears about this stuff, you know, tangentially or after the fact or whatever, and hears the made up story, right? There's a lot of real stories and there's made up stories. Look at Robin and how she, you know, got her bounty poster. Yeah, she destroyed a bunch of warships when she was a kid. Bullshit. We know what the real story was. So when Sengoku sat in front of everybody in 957 and he's just like, okay, this is Rox, he was the worst pirate in the world, he was this, he was that, like, I don't believe a thing Sengoku said, because you're not a reliable narrator, dude. One, I don't think you were there, and two, you're drinking the government Kool-Aid. So I'm like, this dude is exactly the opposite of everything that Sengoku said. He was a good dude that opposed everything that the government stands for. But Blackbeard may have heard and bought into the propaganda, right? So that's why he's got the saber as a back. He's, you know, buying into all of this other stuff, going about what Rox wanted the complete wrong way. And like, that's the interesting thing. Like, when we talk about different sides and perspectives and how things culminate and you know, just manifest into one story. And where a lot of the action of this particular incident can get really muddied. Where it's, you know, we know that Garp and Roger were protecting the Celestial Dragons, which is not good. That's not good. But we also know that Roger didn't start going after the poneglyphs and anything until after God Valley. Like, he was already a pirate for a very long time, just chilling, living free, not caring about any of this. And then he was just, there's got to be something that Rox is going to say to Roger that's just, you know, it's like, okay. I'm going to look for these rocks now. Why did Roger fight Rox then? That's what we need to get into, but the whole thing is just Roger and Garp need to realize that they're wrong. Like, a flip needs to switch for these guys. Why they were helping? I don't know. Maybe Garp is just following orders. Maybe Roger is trying to protect Garp because he looks at him like as if he's one of his crew, right? They've fought together multiple times. Like, Roger and Garp probably already have a history. Garp is probably Roger's smoker. He's been chasing him around trying to stop him and everything. And then, you know, at the end of the day, they secretly have this friendship. Like, this dude raises his son, right? Well, he drops him off at the dam, but it doesn't matter. He says to him in the cell, like, we've fought so many times that I look at you like you're one of my crew. So whatever side Garp is on, Roger was going to ride for Garp. And then they both come to the conclusion like, oh, damn, like, we're on the wrong side of this. This dude's actually making sense. Barry said God Valley, the One Piece versus canon event. Yeah. Luke said, but if that's true about Rox, what's Roger's impetus for actually joining Garp in the first place, other than I respect you as my enemy? I buy that Oda would have that be the exact reasoning. Roger's on Fraud Watch. Yes, Sword. Yes. Yes. Like, this is the moment that's going to change so many people. This is the canon event. This is the 95 Source Awards. Did you know only 3 characters are named after real-life Buccaneers? Bartholomew, Zora, and Hawkins. You can include Zeph as well through the Cook Pirates. Yeah. Hawkins never amounted to much, but it's like... But Oda did say that he was planning on Hawkins being a warlord, which is why he has like an animal name to him as well. Mihawk slave reveal incoming. I don't know about Mihawk, but maybe Crocodile. But actually, you know what would be interesting too is like watch this, right? Mihawk and Crocodile have a prior relationship because of God Valley, right? So they were both slaves together, and then they do the Cross Guild. Like that's crazy to me. Like, what if Crocodile was like an older brother to Mihawk, or an older sister, whatever, years ago? Saturn versus Rox. I don't know if the Gorosei need to play a role here, but I would like to see some of the other Holy Knights. Like, if we get to see some people that are running with Garland, that could be, you know, basically anybody that we see next to Garland, we have to be like, okay, they're a Holy Knight also, because they're gonna come back later. Jin said, I think Rox enjoys killing people, Randy. Maybe, and I'll take the L. I'll take it. But I have been team Rox is a good guy for years. Videos on it. I've talked about it at Reveries. You know, I'll dance if it's a W, and I'll gladly take the story wherever Oda wants to take it.
You loyal.
Zach Dude said, do we know if Roger fought Rox before or after finding Laugh-Tale? Is this just a case of Roger and Garb knowing it wasn't time for someone like Rox at that moment in time? So Rox may have been to Laugh-Tale, and I've talked about that. You know, it would have to be a situation where, you know, someone like Big Mom and Kaido and all of that, like, they didn't get there. But Rox has to know things about the world, which makes sense. If he's a Lunarian, then he would have, you know, privileged knowledge of that stuff. And the way that Lunarians have been treated, he would, if he is a Lunarian, he would feel galvanized to come here and save these people. But Roger didn't even start looking for Laugh-Tale until after God Valley. Because if you look at the timeline and everything, like, he didn't even care about the poneglyphs or anything until after this event. Jin said, I can't see Mihawk as a slave. I can't either, but Oda might. Baby Pluto and member for 10 months said, maybe irrelevant. The Bucks throwback logo is Mihawk. Yeah. That's funny. What if Fisher Tiger was there? I don't think Fisher Tiger needs to be there. Because the timeline doesn't match up with him becoming a slave at Marijoa. So I think Fisher Tiger is not going to be involved in this. Barry said, my question, where did Buggy come into the picture? He didn't join Roger until well after God Valley, right? But there are so many people that he's tied to that were involved. So, Buggy and Shanks, I think they're the same age, right? It's possible that he could be a baby on God Valley also. Roger just ends up, like, inheriting these two kids. I think the implication is that, like, whatever happens at the end of God Valley, Roger and Rayleigh leave with at least one baby in a chest. I don't know where Buggy comes into the picture, but Oda loves Buggy, so he'll find some way to tie him in. Killer Comedy said, still lurking and shopping, but like D stream, listen to the man. Ooh. Jax224. Scars on the back gotta happen. Ah! We find out that Mihawk's back is all scarred up because he was a slave. Oh. Yo. That's too crazy. Rock Steve, Buggy D's back. Look, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It's a Tywin Tyrion situation. Someone saw that nose and said, that kid ain't mine. Yeah.
You loyal.
Oscar Cruz, member for 27 months. So much coming together here. Brilliant writing. Hey, look. This is why we gather every Sunday. This is why. Times like this, for moments like this. This is what we're here for. This is what we do.
It's about to get spicy.
Shout out to Baby Pluto and Appreciate You said, I think it would be really funny if Luffy doesn't wake for the rest of the arc, but learns of Saturn's powers through descriptions. Copies those characteristics, horns, big, scary. He turns into ores during the final war. Could Luffy do that? Could Luffy make horns? Maybe. I mean, I guess. He'd just be like stretching a part of his temple or something, but I don't know. I mean, I like the ores comparison because that'll bring us back to Thriller Bark, which is obviously, you know, there's a lot of echoes happening right now. Luke said, honestly bummed out to find out that God Valley is in the West Blue. I was kind of hoping it was going to end up being where Ennie's lobby was built. I mean, that would have been a cool connection, but I kind of like that it's just in another sea. Like, it makes it seem like it's not that imposing, but meanwhile, the greatest, like, battle, you know, other than Marineford in the entire world.
Savage.
Comes from that. See, now I want to go and I want to try and see everyone that Oda has ever said is from the West Blue, and then see if that ends up like tying into this. Like, if there's just some random people that were born in the West Blue. Crocodile's origin says the Grand Line, which is a little disappointing. I still really want to see him in this. Hawkeye's Mihawk's wiki doesn't even have an origin for him, which is weird. Miles, hey, what's up? Said Goat Stream in chapter. What if Zebek has Dragon's tattoo? You love to see it. That's why we never saw his face, right? Also, I get the feeling maybe Bonnie used her power with the stab, similar to with the gun, helping to weaken, make Saturn mortal for the fight. That's kind of interesting. I would love to see something where, like, she imbued something that ends up, you know, coming back later. That would be a big win for her. I'd love that. I'd love that. Barry said, Randy, true or false? I said this is one of those chapters you're so grateful to have the stream for. A la the CP9 reveal when you didn't. Oh, absolutely. You know, I'm still a little bummed I was, you know, spoiled to a certain degree on the chapter, but, like, so many things I didn't know about, and it's so much fun to just sit here and speculate. Like, we've gone into so many directions in this stream. It's so fun. There's gonna be and it's actually, you know, like, you know, is it a bummer that, you know, we've got a break and everything? Yeah, but it kind of allows us to sit and really kind of live in this for a little bit, which I love. You know, we'll have a theory for theory. We'll get into more with that. Oh man. Ramon said Randy still has not danced with his Sanji hype tool W. Zero mention of Kizaru getting clapped. Crazy chapter. Well, yeah, you know, we've got yeah, Sanji is being used as a hype tool for Saturn, but Sanji also, like, it would have been nice if Sanji got a hit in at least. I'm more interested in the like the Frankie of it all was better. And Kizaru being down, that doesn't matter to me because I'm not a power scaler. You know, so it's like, okay, Kizaru's down. He was never meant to be Luffy's opponent in my mind anyway. So that's kind of why I'm just like, okay. But you also have, like, Kuma's backstory and, you know, all of this God Valley stuff. There's so much towards the second half of the chapter that, like, the first half of the chapter is almost meaningless. It's not, but, you know, it's like we gotta focus here. Jacob said, if the Gorosei are immortal due to previous Opi Opi no Mi users, like some theorize, what if Blackbeard got the Yami no Mi partly to negate it? Ah. Oh. Ooh. Especially if the Yami Yami no Mi is, like, born from Emu or something, so that's why it negates it or something. Ah. That's crazy, especially if Blackbeard actually is there. So he's the one that... Oh man, that's a way to gas up Blackbeard. If Blackbeard is actually there, right? Saturn kills Kuma, but then in the last minute, Blackbeard pulls up and kills Saturn? Oh shit. Could that be the last fruit that Blackbeard gets? The Zoan? And then Blackbeard has the Yami Yami, the Gura Gura, but is also an Uchi Oni? Ah! So then the end game, like one of the end game villains, like the big series bad on the pirate side, would be able to transform into the first transformation that we ever saw in the story, which was Dalton, who's also a bull. That's kind of... That made me think about a lot of it. Lafitte, Das Bones, Beige, and Moria are all from the West Blue. Mango Mark. Okay. 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 Moria I could buy. I could buy him being there. Beige? No, he's not going to be there. Das Bones? It would be interesting, but I don't see it. I don't think, because especially if we're trying to do Crocodile being there, I don't need Crocodile and Mr. One to have that far of a relationship. Lafitte. I'd like it if Lafitte wasn't a slave, but was, you know, like a guard for the king or something. Because we know he had, like, some sort of a role to play, right? And if we get some Lafitte lore here, and then come back to Egghead and Lafitte's there, yeah, Lafitte might be in this flashback. On the wiki, it says, it is known to be the birthplace of Nico Robin. We know this. Musician Brooke. Brooke's not going to have anything to do with this. Red-haired Shanks. So we know we're going to get into Shanks stuff anyway. Garland is just going to, like, go off into a back room with someone. Former Warlord of the Sea, Gecko Moria. Beige. Hapo Navy. So Don Chin Jiao playing a role here. What if Don Chin Jiao was on rocks? That's why Garp and him like continued to have a bit of a rivalry. So like locations in the West Blue. One of them is the city from which Lafitte was expelled. But let's see, how old is Lafitte? Because that's gonna tell us. Because he's probably a kid anyway, so it's kind of stupid. 39. He's 1. So it's not. We're not getting any Lafitte lore. I just went off on a whole tangent that doesn't matter. I mean, it's still possible that he's got some sort of a tie here, but okay. We've got some Whitebeard pirates that are in the West Blue. Jozu, Kuriel, Atmos. So let's see how old these guys are. Jozu is 40, so he'd be 2 years old. Nah, that doesn't fly. Kuriel, we don't even know how old he is. We don't know how old Atmos is either. San Juan Wolf is from the West Blue. Hina is from the West Blue, but she would definitely not be born yet. Morley, how old is Morley? He's a giant. We can see Morley. Ushianu of the Revolutionary Army is also from the West Blue. I can buy that they were old enough. And the trivia of the West Blue is that so far it is the only sea to have no known members of the D family. Yeah, well. I still think Robin's a D. He's way too much of an enemy of the gods to not be. Shout out to Moongem VA for Fun, who said, unrelated to 1095, but what are your thoughts on Nami's heritage? Ever since Kuma dropped the name, I've thought she'd end up being of Nerona lineage. Tinfoil hat idea. For sure, though. Nerona Nami? That's interesting. Look, I've always wanted Nami to, like, have some, like, lineage, like, some sort of importance, like... A lot of people, you know, don't like that in a story. Where it's like, oh, okay, blah, 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 chosen one, like, everybody was meant for this. But One Piece is the type of story where I'm like, no, like, this is the way it's supposed to be. Like, Oda has crafted this story to where everybody on this crew needs to be extraordinary to buy into all of this. So, I don't know if it needs to be Nerona, but either way, it's not going to play a role in God Valley because of Nami's age and. But I mean, it would be interesting if we ended up meeting people that ended up being parents of the Straw Hats here. Like that would be it's just something that would be a lot of fun to see. What did I get spoiled on? I saw a thumbnail of young Kuma with God Valley in the background. That's it. That's all I knew coming into this. Roger for theory? Maybe. Salient said, wait, Beige is from the West Blue. Croco escapes the chaos of God Valley, crosses paths with Beige, adopting his gangster aesthetics and lifestyle. So not only that, the West Blue is known for having like the 5 like mafia families. So I don't need Beige to play a role at all in God Valley. It's how old is he? I don't even think he's old enough. 2 years old during this. Doesn't matter. But
Savage.
If Crocodile was here and he's in the West Blue, then he could just shack up with one of the other families, right? And, you know, maybe he shacks up with Dufeld, you know, something like that. You know, that's where he gets his aesthetic. Dawn Knight said the slave from the auction house Baron was from the West Blue. Byron, yeah. Very young. So maybe their parents had something to do with God Valley. He's like 27 now. Yorkie would be dead at this point. So while he's from the West Blue and the Rumbar Pirates, he would not be here. Shin said maybe Lafitte's parents were slaves. See, now we're thinking, yeah. So it's got to be like, you know, like the parents of some of these people. So this is a fun idea. Ramon said, when Vegapunk said, if this is not science, it must be devil fruit. Imagine if it actually is science, and the god of war of science is just Germatech on steroids. Wow. It's too crazy to think about. It's too crazy to think about, like, all like what the science of this world can do. Top Goon, Brooke was in God Valley's military convoy, maybe. Probably not, but would be interesting. So God Valley was 38 years ago, and Brooke was lost in the Florian Triangle for 50 years. So he had nothing to do with this. The Rumbar Pirates have nothing to do with this. Even though they're from the West Blue, it would have been a really fun connection, but we already know that they would have died like 12 years prior. Moon Gem VA for fun, appreciate you. Thanks again. Said, in Logetown, Dragon stopped Smoker before anyone knew how to deal with Loki's. I bet that we will see Kizaru use his awakening, and Dragon will be the only one who can stop him before we know how to deal with them. I mean, that's fun. That's fun. I kind of think that we've already seen what Logia's awakening is. We just need to get it like kind of explained and solidified. How about Morley, Bello Betty, Karasu, and the cat? So out of those, we only know that Morley was in the West Blue. But for as, big and old as he was, he could have already been an Impel Down at this point, Well, I mean, he still has to join the Revolution Army at some point, so maybe. I mean, out of any of them, it works. And then Ushiano, the cow guy, like, he's also in the West Blue. We've seen him pop up a couple of times. We've got an Oda box for him in 1083, 84. So. Miles said, I think we see Marco at God Valley. He'd be 7. Yeah, I'm totally into that. Marco's one of my favorite characters. QV said, could definitely see Kuma using his pawpaw fruit to blow up Egghead so everyone could escape. That would be wild if he could actually blow up the entire island with his fruit. I'd like to see him send several people away to escape, or send the bad guys away. I don't know. We need something. An idea was brought up earlier that he could take the fatigue out of Luffy, and that's really exciting to me. Doron Rostuvia said Tokyo/Oikot, I think, has to be relevant. It's in the East Blue. So. Perona Nerona. That's funny, Derek. Yokai said, I never want Nami's biological parents to be mentioned. I do. Frankie's parents, finally. I'm into that. It doesn't need to change anything about Nami. She'll still recognize Belmir as her mother. But it's interesting. JD for T for T. It's been a while. I'll bring Jay if Crocodile ends up being in this.
You loyal.
Then we can talk about the goat. Is Matt Owens busy for Theory? Matt's definitely busy. We'll get him on the channel once the SAG strike is over. We've already talked about it. We'll be able to get into things and talk about stuff. How's the actor strike going, Randy? Not great. I mean, negotiations broke down. It seemed like we were, going to be done with all of it. And then the AM PTP, all of the studios, they walked away from the table. So, don't know when they're going to come back. No news. Very disappointed in the AM PTP. The writer's strike already went on long enough. Why do we have to keep dragging this out? Luke said, here's my prediction. Shanks was actually Rox's child. He was found in a treasure chest, but who else would have had a chest at God Valley? I'm convinced Shanks is a D, and here's how it could be done. I'm convinced that Shanks is not a D, and that's why he was looking for either Luffy or Ace to give them the Nika fruit to fall in line with the prophecy that he would have learned from either Roger or Rayleigh. So knowing that he isn't a D, he would not be able to actually like fulfill the prophecy himself, but he would be able to act as a guide and a vizier for, making sure that things fall in line. So he kind of like understood his role. Now, Shanks being Rox's child, after seeing Garling in this chapter and seeing that he looks exactly like Shanks, I don't know. I think it's definitely Figureland Shanks. It's more so like, who's his mom going to be, and what's going to happen. We know that Shanks was, it was found in a treasure chest, like you said. So, but it's also like, why was Shanks in a treasure chest? Why was he here? Like, unless Garling like legitimately had like loved his child, and things got so crazy with the Rox pirates and the Roger pirates and Garp fighting that Garling was just like, I need to protect my kid, and just like hid them in a treasure chest thinking that that would save them. And then he left his kid. I don't know. Or we have to find out who Shanks' mom is, and then maybe she did it. But then she dies, and he never knew where she hid Shanks in the first place, but Roger found Shanks. I like that better. Yeah. Top Goon said, I think Jean Bart is Canian and Saved by a D. Like, is a Buccaneer. Is that how, like, was that an earlier translation or something? Bacanian instead of Buccaneer? Jean Bart being a Buccaneer, like, I mean, that feels right. He was Saved by a D law. I'm cool with that. I'd love to find that out. Terrible TJ thinks that Saturn's power is alchemy, which is fun. It's a different manga, but hey, the transmutation circles are there. Judge would be 18. Surprise Vinsmoke appearance. That's interesting. He was not the Judge we know now. He did not seem like a fighter, and he had 0 drip. Not that his drip is any better now, but I don't need to see an undrippy Vinsmoke. But then again, Sanji's outfit in Egghead is basura. Like, it is so trash. So we are already looking at a non-drippy Vinsmoke this whole arc. And Sanji's getting so much focus in that trash outfit. God. Get that Hawaiian shirt hoodie off, man. Those shorts? Nah. Jacob, member for 14 months, said, love how this chapter tugged all our heartstrings. I went through it. Oda, he needed to do it, but he also didn't need to do the shot of Kuma as clap got clapped. Sorry. Astro projected and had a flashback of rereading that moment and all of the emotions that went through it. Had to process that and then come back. Miles said it would be wild if we got a Crocodile real name reveal in the flashback. I was actually thinking about that earlier. And then I was also thinking, like, What if he's called Sir Crocodile? Like, if it is like the whole crocodile is a woman thing, like he made sure that like his name had Sir in it just to sell it. I really don't need the crocodile was a woman thing. I'm okay with crocodile just being a guy, being a boy. Top Gun said, I kind of like Bacanian more than Buccaneer. Yeah. Sounds more fiction-y. But hey, we're in a pirate story, so. Buccaneers. Top Gun said, Oda always does Sanji grimy with the outfits. His movie fits are atrocious. But normally, like, this is the first atrocious fit in a really long time. I mean, like, his Onigashima fit was... that's top 3 right there. His Act 1 fit... Exactly, Barry. Excuse me, always? Sometimes. But always? No. Always in the movies, yes. Latigan, I think Ginny is Bonnie's mom. Her holding that meat leg is more akin to Bonnie's glutton moniker. Yeah, I talked about that earlier at some point. But I don't know. I think the idea is to have... I think Oda's trying to have us say, is this Luffy's mom? Is it Bonnie's mom? Is it this? But Ginny's gonna die. Ginny needs to be... there needs to be one singular person that they all become friends with and dies. It's the ASL Sabo of it all, but, this person actually does die. Yeah, it's a red herring. That's how I'm interpreting it. Miles said the irony of the world government hunting little girl crocodile and crocodile knowing or unknowingly helping shelter another world government enemy in Robin is poetic. It is. Real name Monkey D. Alligator. R.I.P. Ginny, we hardly knew her. How many chapters do I think this flashback deserves? 1095, 1096, 1097, 1098. Back to Egghead for 1099. Massive Egghead thing at 1100. Dragon showing up, whatever. So I say the flashback takes us, towards the end of 1098. So we get 3.5, 4 chapters of it. We spend 1096 building up Kuma as a child, hanging out with Ivankov. We get Ivankov lore. We build Ginny as a character so that when we kill her, we cry. We end the chapter with like one faction showing up, whether that's Rocks or reveal that Roger is there. Garp on the way. 1097, all about the Marines' outlook of everything. So that's when we would get into Garp. We get into Dragon, Sakazuki. The hunt is like starting at that point. And then that ends with like, I would actually say Roger's already on the island. 1097, all about the Marines. Rocks shows up at the end of 1097. Then 1098 is all action from the incident and everything. Ginny dies. And 1099 is like half a chapter of a wrap up of everything leading into the coming back into Egghead and the reveal that Kuma has already arrived on Egghead. And gets involved, has an interaction with Saturn. 1100 Dragon and the Revolutionary Army is there. Sandy NATO. Hokage is talking about real things here. Do we stick with God Valley, or do we fast forward to Sorbet and leave the God Valley portion for later? Everybody would be so mad. Oda could do it, though. Just keep this strictly to the POV of Kuma. So the incident starts, and then we like cut forward to, because we need to see Bonnie's perspective of all of it also, right? This is true. I don't think we probably can't come out of the flashback without seeing what Bonnie saw as far as like him. Yeah. Because it's Kuma's flashback. It's not the God Valley flashback, so we need to track Kuma across his life. So that's why we need to introduce Dragon in here. The incident happens. Maybe we expand upon it later, but we get kind of the spark notes of it. The freedom fighters are created. Dragon goes with Kuma. They run around Ohara. Kuma becomes a warlord. He makes the deal for Bonnie. Yeah. So maybe we don't actually get as much of God Valley as I was optimistically saying there. So I think we still build up Ginny and get a bunch of Ivankov and Kuma stuff in the next chapter. At least half a chapter of it for, 4 or 5 pages. The manhunt starts. Probably still see Ginny die. But we don't get into the Marine perspective of all of it until we get Garp's side of it. But maybe we get Dragon's perspective. Emil said, technically, this isn't Kuma's flashback, it's Bonnie's. Yeah, so we gotta get into the Bonnie of it all. I still feel we're gonna get a couple of chapters of this. We'll be... Whatever story Oda decides to tell, I think this will take us until 1098, 1099. Momentai King said, if this is as important a piece of history as we think it is, I wanted to get a volume. Yeah, I mean, that would be excellent. But we'll see. Okage Ezio said, it'd be a bit of a buzzkill, but I could see Oda still holding off on that. Yeah. I don't think the Gurugura no Mi needs to be in those boxes, Platagon. The Nikyu, definitely. Ivankov's fruit. Kaido's fruit. Maybe Crocodile's fruit. Maybe one of them has the Nika fruit. That would be interesting. Like, they finally got it, but then You know, as somebody's about to do something with it, it eludes them once again. And so 1098, Roger protects St. Charlos as a kid, but fails to protect Ginny from rocks. I like the thinking of it. Charlos is like 20-something, so he wouldn't be here, but if he protected Roswald, then, you know, we could see the ramifications of that. Like, oh man, if Roger didn't do this, then this wouldn't have happened, and this wouldn't have happened. And like, those are the kind of things I like. You know, if you're going to do a flashback, see that there were some sort of ramifications and ripples that affected the current timeline as well, and you can, you know, just sit there the whole time processing like, oh man, if they just never did that, Charlos would have never been born. Wow. So we're 2.5 hours into the stream, and I didn't even do a reread. You know, it's like the beginning part of Kuma's flashback is really giving, like, looking for Ace, looking for Roger's child. Like, they're monitoring blood to make sure that they have, you know, completely just eliminated the Buccaneer bloodline. Wow. Like, the amount of eugenics in One Piece is absurd. How are they monitoring this? Why are they monitoring this? What does, like, the Buccaneers must have been a race that stood up against the world government during the Void Century. What did the Buccaneers do? Oh, man. You know, I really do like the idea that Clapp told the story of Nika so much that all of the slaves in Marijoa would constantly talk about it, and that's how, like, Who's Who found out about it. I want to go back to what it said when Garland was first introduced. That was, I think, 1085. No, it's 1086. The man who passed the sentence was a dominating figure who once distinguished himself at a place called God Valley. Today, he is the supreme commander of the Holy Knights. So, this dude's about to go on a massive killing spree. A figure who once distinguished himself at a place called God Valley, and he's starting with negative 10,000 points, and he's going to end up winning this whole thing. How many? All right, Ginny's dying by Garling. That's it. It's going to be him. He's going to distinguish himself. He's got to get the most kills. This is wild. Buccaneer lineage is why the pacifistas are so strong, said Miles. That's interesting. Yeah. I think it got retranslated for him to be the champion of God Valley. The RPG Ginger said, "Hey Randy, dropping by to leave a thumbs up. Looking forward to the video on this chapter." Oh yeah, this one's gonna be a fun one. So be like our friend here, hit that like button. See, I remember the implication being that like he was on. When we talked about this at 1086, I think everybody thought that he just sort of lived on God Valley, or he was the king of God Valley or something like that. But no, looks like he just killed so many slaves that everybody was just like, wow, give him the gold medal. Look how many slaves he killed. Oh my God. I wonder if the implication is that Ginny is actually related to Ivankov. As they say, my bro's pretty big too, huh? Now, I mean, it's One Piece, so anybody can call, someone a brother or a sister, but a legitimate relation would be really interesting. What if Kuma sends the Straw Hats a full lid to save Garp? I don't think it's time for that. I don't think it's time to fight Blackbeard yet. Unless Blackbeard is at Egghead, and then the point is to save him while Blackbeard's not there, but... I don't know. What a chapter, guys. What a chapter. There's so many... There's so many things to get into. This is fun. This is fun. And depressing. So. Alright, guys. I think I'm going to wrap everything up here so that I can get started on the video for this. And this was a phenomenal stream. I had a great time talking with everybody about this chapter. This is just about as monumental as the last one. Oh yeah. Drop theory for theory guest choices. I saw some earlier. Some people were saying Roger. Some people were saying Jay. Maybe King of Lightning would be good for this. Who's somebody in the community that's really interested in God Valley? Thanks, Kamaldeep. Vulcan said, I hope Sanji can free himself through awakening, conquer Saki, and save Bonnie. That's fun. Hidden Island's interesting. I haven't talked with him in a while. Yeah, Cole. I'm seeing a lot of Cole. Maybe. I'm gonna think about it. Who isn't interested in God Valley? Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that, you know, like devote a lot of attention, time, and videos to, you know, like what it could be. I had Par on semi recently, yeah, so I'm not gonna do Par. I also said great stuff as always. Egghead is easily making an argument for being top arc. Joy Boy was making some great theories. So maybe him for Theory for Theory. I just had him. He was the last Theory for Theory guest, actually. Roger would be nice. Yeah, I don't know if I want to wait until the SAG strike is over, because Roger and I have both been silent about, you know, live action, so be cool to kind of talk about that, or, you know, like other things besides just the manga. Yeah, Chin, the Morge one was good. We also got into some really interesting discussions, like in the last hour or two. Teching I had on pretty recently, but also teching spoiled me on this chapter, so. With his thumbnail. Or at least I think it was him. I don't know. I saw it and I was like, it went away. But it was in the style of his normal thumbnails. There's the beef. There's no beef. So, all right. I'll take it all into consideration. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. Appreciate you guys. We'll have an analysis here. We'll address some fun topics in that video, and we'll be back here next Sunday for Theory. Take all of your choices into consideration. We'll figure it out. Okay. Ugh. Like, comment, subscribe if you're feeling the vibe.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.